They will be. Well, howdy, good evening. This is 3-Point Bible Treasures, little Bible study. Just going through the Bible, and we are in the book of Numbers, the exciting book of Numbers. Going through Genesis, went through Leviticus, we went through Exodus, we went through all them things, and now we're in the fascinating book of Numbers and learning a lot about stuff. We on chapter 8? Yep. We are. Chapter 8 is where we're going to be starting tonight. Hello, mother. Hello, grandmother. And we don't hear you. Gotta turn your mic on. Hello. Hello. Okay.
I'll try this again. Hello, son. Hello, Mama Joe. And everybody.
Everybody. So yeah, we got Barbara watching online. That's probably the one up here so far. Where's she watching that? Yep, on the YouTubes, 3-Point YouTubes. So with that, we are ready to go. We got a little bit of dry stuff. Hopefully, we'll make it interesting, and then we'll get a little bit more interesting things, I think. But and I was just going through it earlier, and I was just blowing my mind, like, oh man, as you go through the Bible, keep on doing this, more things pop up, like, oh, look at that. So I was kind of geeking out. I don't know if we'll get as far as I was, where I'm actually was kind of excited, but we might get there. I don't know. All right, well, let's open it up and get into it. So, Father God, just thank you for today. Thank you for your church, and just thank you for the fellowship, being able to come together in person and online, wherever we're at, and being able to worship you by digging into your word, and it's just such a blessing to live in this time, and with the ease and comfort that we have. And I know we take it for granted, but just thank you for all those blessings that you bestowed upon us. And we pray all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So let's see here. Glasses are weird. All right, let's do this. All right, so the 7 lamps is what God says here, chapter 8. So now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron and say to him. All right, so let's back up. My mom actually sent me something. So let's back up to 89 so we get a context of this. My mom sent me a little message for about an hour ago about this. When Moses went into the tent of meeting, he went into the tent of meeting to speak to the Lord. He heard a voice speaking to him from above the mercy seat that was on the ark of testimony, from between the 2 cherubim, and it spoke to him. All right, so this is where they would come for the Day of Atonement and meet God. So this is a very holy thing here, and Moses is speaking to God here. So that's where we pick up in here in chapter 8. Since now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron and say to him, when you set up the lamps, the 7 lamps shall give light in front of the lampstand. All right, remember, this is like kind of like the menorah, but not. We've talked about this extensively through Leviticus and through Exodus when he gave them the plans initially. So this is not something new. We know about this lamp, right? That looks like the menorah. Anybody know what the difference in the menorah and this lamp is?
The menorah.
No.
I think it's something totally different.
9. It's got 9. So the menorah's got 9. This has got 7. So it's different, totally different. And it's for a festival of lights thing or something. I don't know. I have to look into it more. But anyways, definitely different So this has 7 here. So the 7 lampstands shall give light in front of the lampstand, and that Aaron did so. He set up its lamps in front of the lampstand as the Lord commanded Moses. And this was the workmanship of the lampstand. So we're covering this again. Hammered work of gold from its base to its flowers. It has hammered work according to the pattern of the Lord had shown Moses. So he made the lampstand. And evidently, a group of Israelites have recreated this. I think it's like a menorah, though. I think it has 9. But they've recreated this, but spend millions and millions of dollars in gold and everything, and it's guarded and all this in Israel, awaiting the temple. There's groups now, that are there.
I've heard about that. They got a lot of stuff ready for the
temple. They got they're always getting Red Bulls, trying to get the red heifers. Yeah, red heifers. That's right. Try to get the red heifers and all this stuff, and but of course, right now, what's in the place of the temple spot? Who controls it?
Muslim.
The Muslims do, right? It's Muslim controlled, and they'll let you, if they feel like it, they'll let you come check out stuff and all, but it's controlled by the Muslims. So there is no temple there on the Temple Mount at the moment. Okay, so and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Take the Levites from among the people of Israel and cleanse them. Thus you shall do to them to cleanse them. Sprinkle the water of purification upon them." So it's almost like the sprinkling of baptism, kind of like the. Maybe I wonder if that's where the Methodist traditions and stuff get the idea of their sprinkling. No. And let them go with a razor over all their body. Of course, they don't do that, and that'd be interesting. all the body completely, and wash their clothes and cleanse themselves. Then let them take a bull from the herd and its grain offering, a fine flour mixed with oil, and you shall take another bull from the herd for a sin offering. Okay. And you shall bring the Levites before the tent of meeting and assemble the whole congregation of the people of Israel. And hopefully, after they've done some of those things, they'll because they're gonna have to strip down and shave and bathe and everything else. So when you bring the Levites before the Lord, the people of Israel shall lay their hands on the Levites. Now this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool stuff. And why would they do this?
Purify them.
So it's the people of, in the whole idea when you're doing these sin offerings and all, remember you lay your hands on the bull or the ram or whatever it is, and you're the kind of the transposing the sin on the animal of sacrifice, right? You remember this, the Levites are set aside. Their inheritance is the Lord's, is the Lord himself. And also they are the atonement. They are the replacement for the firstborn. Remember the firstborn, all the first fruits, all the firstborn of every animal, and the Levites themselves. The firstborns belong to the Lord. Remember we covered that earlier. And the Levites, the Lord said, they are your atonement. This is all picture and preluding to Jesus, right? And so they're pressing, they're laying hands on and anointing, and it's as much like a ordination, like for a minister or whatever, where the people are actually putting their hands on, laying their hands on, and approving of these people being that replacement, being in service to minister to them and also minister to the Lord, right? So it's a very, very cool thing that the actual people, and of course, I'm sure they're all like in a big congregation and maybe each other, touching each other's shoulders, and then a few of them actually on the guys. Actually, there's a whole bunch of them. So this is a big deal. It's a lot of guys. This is a lot of people, because this isn't just the Aaronic priests. We went through what they had to go through with the 7 days of sacrifice and all that bloody mess and everything, just to, so this is a little different This is more like a an ordination than that extensive holy consecration that those guys had to go through. And Aaron shall offer the Levites before the Lord as a wave offering from the people of Israel, that they may do the service of the Lord. Right. So they are being ordained here to do the service of the Lord. Then the Levites shall lay their hands on the heads of the bulls, and you shall offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for the burnt offering to the Lord, to make atonement for the Levites. Right? Making atonement for the Levites. And you shall set the Levites before Aaron and his sons, and shall offer them as a wave offering to the Lord. All right, so the people lay their hands on them, and then they lay their hands on the bull. So it's almost like you have this transference through them as well. So 14, thus you shall separate the Levites from among the people of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. Right? So they are the Lord's. They belong to God. They've been ordained and consecrated to God and approved by the people. Right? And after that, the Levites shall go in to serve at the tent of meeting when you have cleansed them and offered them as a wave offering. For they are wholly given to me from among the people of Israel. And this talks, it alludes to people in ministry and stuff today. Of course, we're all called to be ministers, to be, but those that are specifically set aside to be ordained and things like that. They're called to serve and to be that atonement, to be that replacement, to be in service to the Lord and also to the people, right? And wholly given. It's a serious thing. And these kind of things that we do even today, it's the same kind of practices. And of course, it's all a little different in different denominations and things. But I remember when I did the ordination thing with the Baptists, you had to come in before a bunch of elders and all. They asked me a bunch of questions. And, or it was deacons. It was deacons but it was other pastors and things. Sandra and Paul actually came. And I've actually got their names and all in my Bible here. He gave me this fancy Bible that says Reverend on there, which I don't know about that, but it's like, and they all signed the Bible. Of course, see all their names, sign it off. So it's kind of, and they all laid hands like the next day after it was like on Saturday when they did the official ordination and like checking you out, making sure you're cool, you're not apostate or something. And there was a little question. I almost didn't make it because of the baptism ideas or whatever. But anyways, some people had a little bit of issue with the baptism, my views on baptism and stuff. But anyways, it was pretty fun. And then the next day, of course, they all came up and put me in front of the church and came by and did the laying on hands and praying and stuff and all. So it was a lot like this kind of thing. Of course, I didn't have, I do shave. So I do shave.
You fit right in.
I fit right in. I shaved up and took a bath. So I'm good. So this is a little more extensive, But all right, so where we at? Okay, so 17. Okay. Did we go through the firstborn? I think. Let me back up to 16. For they are wholly given to me from among the people of Israel. Okay, yes, I read half of it. Instead of all who opened the womb, the firstborn of all the people of Israel, I have taken for myself. So this is a replacement, right? So instead of all the firstborn from all the different tribes, the Levites are that replacement, that atonement for them, right? For all the firstborn among the people of Israel are mine, both of man and of beast. On the day that I struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I consecrated them for myself. And I have taken the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the people of Israel, and I have given the Levites as a gift to Aaron and his sons from among the people of Israel to do the service for the people of Israel at the tent of meeting and to make atonement. To make atonement for the people of Israel. So them just being set aside, in what does holy mean? It means to be set apart, to be separated, to be cut off. And for this whole tribe of people, the Israelites, are set apart, cut off, made holy. They are there as an atonement, as a huge atonement for those firstborn, right, and for all the people of Israel. So there may be no plague among the people of Israel when the people of Israel come near the sanctuary. Okay. So, because you have to be holy to become in the presence of God, right? And how can we come in the presence of God today? How because if God is a holy God and a righteous God, and how is it possible for us to come to in the presence of God, to pray to God at all today?
Because Jesus made that atonement.
Yes, because Jesus was that ultimate atonement, right? Yes. All right, so verse 20, thus did Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the people of Israel to the Levites according to all that the Lord commanded Moses concerning the Levites, the people of Israel did to them. Whew. And the Levites purified themselves from sin and washed their clothes, and Aaron offered them as a wave offering before the Lord, and Aaron made atonement for them to cleanse them. And after the Levites went in to do their service in the tent of meeting before Aaron and his sons, as the Lord had commanded Moses concerning the Levites, so they did to them. So they did everything that there was, all that to say, and they did it, right? All right. Now my title here says Retirement of the Levites. I like that. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, this applies to the Levites. From 25 years old and upward, they shall come to do duty in the service of the tent of meeting. And from the age of 50 years, they shall withdraw from the duty of service and serve no more. They minister to their brothers in the tent of meeting by keeping guard, but they shall do no service. Thus shall you do to the Levites in assigning their duties. Okay. So there's why do you think specifically 25 years? So it's not like they're starting super early, but it's 25 years old and up to 50. And why 25 to 50? Anybody? I mean, there's no right answer here, but
I would say
Well-
to make room for the newcomers.
Okay. Yep. All right. What'd you say, Mom?
I don't know. I don't know what's really involved in their daily life from 25 years old to age 50 in that, very holy capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because they won't get worn out. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how taxing that would be to hold that responsibility.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yes.
I know as far as like the gatekeepers, Obed-Edom, I think somewhere in the Bible it speaks of them doing service like once a month.
Yeah.
They had to rotate because they actually had a bunch of them.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did it for a week or something.
Yeah, it's not like Chronicles, right? I think that's.
Yes, I don't remember where.
Yeah.
They had to rotate as it was. You didn't do it all the time. You didn't do it year round.
Yeah. The only ones that were like there all the time, like in service, was the Aaronic priests. From that lineage, they were, the high priest. They were they were there. Like they had to serve. The ones that were actually doing the holy things. But like we talked about, there was lots of different things, lots of work to do, moving and cleaning, and I mean, there's lots of stuff to do. You know, the robes and all getting dirty, have to be washed, and all this stuff. And everything had to be handled really well. And also, I just think he wants the best, right? He wants the best from us, and this is like those prime years. You know, he wants the best of your life. You know, he wants them, you know, especially here in these ages, you know, because they don't live as healthy as, you know, don't have all modern medicine and everything where they're living forever. But, of course, some people did. But,
I expect they had a big cleanup crew.
Yeah.
Because you killing all them animals,
Mm-hmm.
putting the blood on the horns of the altar and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Surely they cleaned it.
Oh yeah. There's a lot. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. There's a reason why it's a whole tribe. There's a lot to do, a lot of stuff, and there may have been like a rotation, like you said, of all those things, because they did have their own farms. They had to, and of course they didn't own the property, but they worked farms and had homes and everything else.
Yeah, that'd be a nasty job because I've been in several people that lived around our house that butchered animals. So I've been in their butcher shop, and it's nasty.
Oh yeah,
It's nasty.
and they're not just, you know, they're not trying to be clean about it. They're, you know, they're purposely waving the blood and splashing it everywhere. They're purposely making a mess when they're doing
It
this.
have to be cleaned. The place
Yeah.
is thick with flies.
Oh yeah, definitely getting clean. So, but this, you know, it's this retirement kind of thing. It's like they're not doing the same job function, but they're still ministering. Like they're become elders or whatever. You know, they're still part of the ministry.
Like their guards.
Yeah. It says the minister to their brothers in the tent of meeting by keeping guard. But they shall do no service. So they're still of service. They're still there, still doing things, being part of the ministry, but not in the same capacity, right? So thus you shall do to the Levites, assigning their duties. Okay, all right. So I think we're done with that kind of stuff for a moment. All right. So the Passover, yes, ma'am.
I don't understand what wave offering means that was mentioned.
Okay, wave offering, it's a symbolic kind of, and yeah, I don't know exactly. Remember we talked about the heave offering and the wave offering. The wave offering, and sometimes they differentiate it. I think this would actually be like a heave, but you have two different kind of offerings. Like this is going up to you, God, and then some others will be going to side, like it's going, like it's blessing the people. You know, we've kind of hit on that, but it's really confusing. I don't really understand exactly.
Is that kind of
it's kind of yeah. That's where they get their. It's from that kind of thing with those incense things, and but remember, like we talked about, like even in Revelation, where the incense, you know, like the prayers coming up to God and being that sweet aroma, that whole symbolic thing is all in here as well. That we're, you know, there's an actual waving of this meat, these things up to God, or if it's like a blessing among the community kind of thing, it'd be kind of back and forth kind of thing. I don't know if we really have I have to look that up so there's like a good depiction of that. It's just, you know, we're so far removed from that stuff. It's kind of hard to visualize exactly what's going on, and it's not super detailed. Of course, it's written to people that are doing it. You know, they're living this kind of lifestyle in this kind of world that does these kind of things. So I'm sure they understood exactly what he was talking about. But you got any insight on that, Mama Joe? Sometimes she knows.
I was just thinking that even today, sometimes when we are worshiping God, we lift our hands and wave them back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do the waving. I mean, it's a spiritual, like the presence of God, the Spirit moving side to side, kind of. It's an offering to God,
Well,
lifting up those prayers, lifting up those.
letting the Holy Spirit come.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it has all those kind of symbolic kind of stuff going on, right?
Well, it's more
Okay.
than just symbolic.
Well, I mean the practices are, yeah. Okay, all right. Well, it's like, I say symbol. I want to make sure I'm not dismissing. I'm saying just like the atonement for their sins and things being pressed onto the bull and those kind of things. Does the bull really replace the sin? You know what I mean? It's not. I mean, I guess you could say maybe, but did you really think the bull was ever an atonement to fully, or was it the faith of
It's a
doing?
symbolization of the blood.
Yeah.
Blood has to be spilt to cover sin. And until Jesus came, that was a symbol of that.
Yeah. So it was the faith in that coming Messiah, in that practice, that was what saved people. And Hebrews, the famous Hall of Faith chapter talks about that. It was faith that saved Abraham. The faith was what made them righteous. It wasn't the sacrifice. And the prophets, I think even here in Numbers or Deuteronomy, one or the other, it actually mentions that it's not the sacrifice that God wants, right? It's that faith, it's that heart. It's not all these practices that he's focused on. You can do these things with, you can be religious. That's kind of a popular thing today. Like, we don't need religion, we need Jesus. It's like, but religion shows us it's all symbolic. It's man's way of and God's way of showing us that relationship between us and Him. Religion is not a bad thing, right? And practicing things, even if they're just symbolic, but they express in a beautiful way. A lot of times, like the Catholic practices and the Orthodox and all, they're beautiful. The things they do, like, they're really beautiful things. Really ornate and always. It's I think a lot of that's probably honoring to God. Now, the problem is when we just do the things just to do them, which is the same problem that Israelites run into. They're just doing things just to do it.
In Samuel, it says obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes. So that's the whole thing. It's better than the sacrifices. It's not the sacrifice itself is not the wave offering itself is not something special. There's nothing magical happening there, right? It's not a magical thing or something. But it's that heart behind what's going on, right? And so that's all these things that they're doing. They're setting themselves apart. Is there anything special about not eating pork or whatever, and shellfish and stuff like that? Something special about it, right? It's just that they are being separate from the rest of the world.
But one thing it does is it keeps our eyes on Jesus, and it kept these people's eyes on God.
Yes.
When they have to go through all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes it serious. I mean, just think about you probably take this stuff pretty serious. We had to go cut, animals up. Just think about the Passover we're about to get into. What took place there? Because these families had to take in a lamb and have it part of its family for a few days. And get to know it. The kids are petting it or whatever. You can just imagine. And then, we got to take it and kill it and spread its blood on the door. And this is it's a pretty tragic, imagine doing that in today's time, being called to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be pretty. I mean, you would never forget that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You would not forget that. So let's talk about the Passover. Are we done with that now? We're good. We good? We good? Okay.
We're
All
good.
right. All right, so chapter 9. And the Lord spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they had come out of the land of Egypt, saying, let the people of Israel keep the Passover at its appointed time. On the 14th day of this month at twilight you shall keep it as an appointed time according to all the statutes and all its rules. You shall keep it. All right, so this is the second year starting. It's been a year. They ain't moved nowhere. They ain't done nothing but hang out at Sinai for a year now. And this is celebrating a year since they were delivered from Egypt. And they're celebrating the Passover. And the Passover is just like we're talking about, that Passover atonement. The reason why the firstborn are all delivered to God, because he saved those firstborn with the atoning blood on the doorpost, right? And this would be this changed not only their lives as far as the escape and deliverance, salvation from Egypt, from slavery. We talk about Paul talks about a lot about the slavery of sin. Correlates it the same way with this, but also it reset their calendar. And much like how we reset our calendar, the world reset its calendar when Jesus came and atoned for the world, right? The calendar changes. These are very significant things, and this changed their calendar as well, to where this is the beginning of their year. They have a whole new year. It's Passover is their new year. This is so significant that they're going to readjust their entire lives and their entire calendars to this date. And this is when they're going to start. So he's reminding him again, all right, this is it, the Passover. It says, verse 4, so Moses told the people of Israel that they should keep the Passover, and they kept the Passover in the first month on the 14th day of the month at the twilight in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so the people of Israel did. And there were certain men who were unclean through touching dead bodies, so that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and Aaron on that day. And those men said to him, oh man, we are unclean through touching a dead body. Why are we kept from bringing the Lord's offering at its appointed time among the people of Israel? And Moses said to them, wait, that I may hear what the Lord will command concerning you. And this is very cool. I like these kind of instances. And I talked about this before, that we have cases, right? We have the law, we have the strictness of the law, the letter of the law, right? And then we have different instances, different cases of applying the law. And even Moses here, he's coming with, they bring in this problem to him. He's like, all right, it's Passover. We're all commanded to honor the Passover, to celebrate the Passover, or you're going to be cut off. It was that serious, right? But the Lord said, if you don't do this, you're cut off from the people of Israel. And they're coming to him saying, but we got an issue. We somehow, maybe they are the guys that handle the dead. I don't know. Maybe they're funeral directors or something. I don't know. But for some reason, they've been handling dead bodies, and they can't celebrate the Passover because not allowed to, because they've been handling dead bodies. And come to Moses, and Moses is like, I don't know. He's the man. He's the representative of God here. He's the top minister, and he don't know. And that's okay to have sometimes. When you don't just come up with something. If somebody hits you with a question biblically, a concern, and you just don't know, it's okay to say, I don't know. But I'll go look into it. You know what I mean? Because we can't know everything. So even Moses here says, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. So the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the people of Israel, saying, if any one of you or your descendants is unclean through the touching of dead body, or is on a long journey, he shall still keep the Passover to the Lord. Okay, so there also, he's saying, if you're not here, right? So you're doing business somewhere else. Maybe you're at war at this time period. So you can't do this as well, right? So this will apply to soldiers, anybody that cannot be there for this Passover. he said, you can still keep the Passover to the Lord. In the second month of the 14th day at twilight, you shall keep it. So you're going to wait, another week or so. So you can delay it, but you still need to do it. This kind of goes in the face of the whole, like the seventh day of Adventists having the idea of, the Sabbath. It must be on Saturday, the Sabbath day, right? That we must do these things according to the law, the letter of the law. Even God makes provisions for those that are not available to do things. So you got to work or whatever. Those different, he makes provisions. We've seen also in the provisions where, according to what you have, if I'm rich and I got bulls, I got the money, I got the resources to bring bulls for different offerings. We saw it depended on your class, how, and all the way down to just grain or just pigeons or whatever that you could sacrifice, you could bring as atonement for that Day of Atonement as well. So we see that, God makes, yes, he has the letter of the law, then he has the spirit of the law living, not being where the law is going to keep you from serving God, right? So in the second month, they shall eat. All right. So in the second month, the 14th day at twilight, they shall keep it. They shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. So they're doing the same thing, just different time, right? They shall leave none of it until the morning, nor break any of its bones. Nor break any of it. So we were talking about this is what everybody does. So they shall leave none of it until morning, nor break any of its bones, according to all the statute. For the Passover, they shall keep it. Why should they not break any of the bones?
Jesus' bones weren't broken.
Yes, because it's did they understand this back then? Why we're not breaking the bones? I don't know if they did or not. Just because it's prophesied, and we see this in John 19. I think I already pulled it up. John 19. I'll just start here, and this all takes place at Passover. Jesus' crucifixion. It all takes place on Passover. So John 19, we find starting here in verse 31. Since it was the day of preparation, and some people have a problem. I actually ran across somebody, which is an ex-mega church pastor that is now an atheist and is preaching atheism, that went through all the different gospels and was complaining about they didn't line up on time-wise, which they do. I'm not going to go into all that. But the day of preparation is that Passover day, but it's preparation for the Sabbath, right? So this will be on the Friday. And so they had the body, so that the bodies would not remain on the cross on the Sabbath, for that Sabbath was a high day. The Jews asked Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they may be taken away. Why would they break the legs?
So the person could
They
not,
couldn't hold themselves up.
Yeah.
would take the pressure off their lungs,
Mm-hmm.
or they would die.
Yeah. Yeah, because you literally had to push up with your legs to be able to breathe.
What's that got to do with breaking the bones of the lamb?
Okay. Well, this is all part of from being prophesied that Jesus is the Messiah's legs would not be broken. It's all verse 32. So the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and of the other who had been crucified with him. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. But one of the soldiers pierced his side with the spear, and at once there came out blood and water. He who saw it was borne witness. His testimony is true, and he knows that he is telling the truth, that you also may believe. Let's see if he has any tags that like to other verses. I think it's in one of the Psalms talks about it as well. Anybody know? What we got here? What's this about? Yeah. All right. This talks about the reason why they want the body to be. They want them to not be hanging there because of that curse, right? Anyone hung on a tree and stays overnight, they're also cursed as well. That's why he had to be taken down before the next day for the. Anyways, yeah. So this is all emblematic of the future Messiah. That's why you don't break the bones. This is a provision put there. Don't break the bones. It's like just because I said don't break the bones, and that's why he also says obedience is better than sacrifice, because just being obedient even when you don't understand what God's doing, because I'm sure they didn't understand all of what God was telling them, why He was telling them to do all these things. I mean, some of them were probably like, what? It's just like we've been doing these things. We've been acting like the pagans. We've been living with the pagans for all these years. And now you're telling us to change our whole lifestyle for what? Why? You just imagine being back here and all these new rules. It's like, why are we doing this? What? Why? I don't get it. So you don't break the bones according to all that the statute for the Passover, they shall keep it. But if anyone who is clean and is not on the journey fails to keep the Passover, that person shall be cut off from the people, because he did not bring the Lord's offering at its appointed time. That man shall bear his sin. And if a stranger, here we go. Here it goes to and the more and more you study the Old Testament, the more and more I've been studying the Old Testament, I see the more and more God reaches out to the Gentiles. It's like it's everywhere. God reaching out to the Gentiles, trying to reach the Gentiles. It's really mind blowing, because in the Jewish mind, they think they're the chosen people, and it's not really about. It's about keeping that tight knit, keeping us together, and by family, by heritage, by blood, really, right? But it's always been about reaching out to the stranger, to the foreigner, to the sojourner. And we've seen this all the way through the law, all the way through these scriptures from the very beginning of this, that it's all about reaching the others, right? And here in verse 14, we see it again. And if a stranger sojourns among you and would keep the Passover to the Lord, so if they're willing, right, according to the statute of the Passover and according to its rule, so shall he do. It's like, don't keep this from the outsider. This is not just for you. This is for whoever wants to be part of the Lord's worship. Worship the Lord. So you shall have one statute, both for the sojourner and the native. So both for the Gentile and the Jew.
But the stranger dwelling with him was not allowed inside the temple, the tabernacle of meeting.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, but he was still doing the Passover stuff, right?
You what?
He was still part of the Passover stuff.
Yeah, well.
Well, nobody was. Oh, come on, inside the tabernacle meeting.
The holy, not the holy of holies, but the holy place.
Well, nobody was going in there besides just
and I'm saying the holy of holies.
Yeah, I'm talking about even in there, they didn't go inside there. Like the normal person wouldn't come inside that part either. All the sacrifice stuff is outside in the courtyard. They're making those sacrifices
in the holy, not the holy of holies.
Yeah,
holy
yeah.
place. Who was allowed in there? Just Levites.
Levites, yeah. Yeah. And then the most holy would be just the priest that was making that, and just once a year was going in there for that. So yeah, so it was just the Levites inside the holy spot, because they were ordained, they were consecrated.
Jump forward 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they were one time when they were, persecuting Paul.
Mm-hmm.
They had said that he had brought Timothy or somebody that was not a Jew
Mm-hmm.
into the holy place.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably shouldn't have, as far as the
Yeah. But that Paul was a Benjamite. He couldn't go in the holy place.
Yeah. Well, they were doing all kinds of things different by the time they got there, anyways. So who knows what all they were making all kinds of weird changes, and they, and even today it's a lot different. Like the Judaism of today is way different than it was even in Jesus's time, and it had changed. That's part of what Jesus was, he was complaining about. It's like, have you not read? It's like, because they were coming up with all kinds of different rules, and I think the heart of it, as we're seeing through the law, is it wasn't just the Hebrews. The Hebrews were supposed to be a blessing to the world in all forms of fashion. They were, and they were supposed to be bringing people in, and they did, and actually we've read about how they made dirty deals with people even before all this, making dirty deals where, yeah, we'll bring you in. You got to get all your guys circumcised. Remember that? That whole deal. It's like, you can get all your guys circumcised, and then they came in and slaughtered everybody because they remember that. So it's always been, there was a path in to worship God from the outside coming in. Everybody could come up.
There was a time when David was on the run that he went in and took some of the showbread.
Yeah.
And he knew that was wrong. And later on, he said that he should not have done that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually, Jesus uses that example when the Pharisees came to him in the field, when him and the disciples were walking on Sabbath and picking the grain, and the Pharisees are like, we caught you breaking the law, breaking the Sabbath. And he's like, even David, when you're hungry, you need to eat, right?
What did she say about the soldiers eating unleavened bread?
David, eating the showbread.
Yeah.
Because and that's the heart of God, right? We see that all the way through the Bible too. Yes, you have the law.
And that's in the showbread was in the holy place that he was talking about.
Yeah, it's in the holy spot. It's on the table, showbread or whatever. We got the lamp over here, and
just for the priest.
Yes. Yeah. So it's so we have the law,
In fact,
and that's
the priests weren't in there just to eat the bread. Bread stayed there at least 24 hours.
Yeah. And they'd swap it out. Yeah. There's all symbolic stuff that they were bread before the Lord, and it symbolized that fellowship, that communion with God, right? Sitting down. Remember, eating together was it's always been a huge personal thing, that you didn't just sit down with anybody and eat, right? It's a real special thing, real intimate. That's the word I was looking for. So, but we see that, right there. That's a great example too of, God has his law, but it has to, you do things that make sense, right? And it's open to not just the Jew, but also to the sojourner, to the, and it says it, if you wonder what a sojourner is, it says right there, that last part, it says both for the sojourner and for the native. So the native being the Jew, right? It's not just for you. If they are willing, I like that how it puts there. If right there, 14 is that, and if a stranger sojourns among you and would keep, if he's willing, if he's wanting to come to God and worship him, would keep the Passover to the Lord according to the statute, blah, 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 so shall he do. Right? So I'm not holding anybody back. It all comes to me. And if you're willing, come on. Right? It's always been that way. And that's what we kind of especially the Jews today get confused, or people reading the Bible or just hearing about the Bible mostly, or maybe even reading through it and not really understanding because they just read straight through it without studying it, and you get like, oh, this is bad. It's like, no, you're not looking at the heart of God all the way through it. This is supposed to be for everyone. And we're walking through, Eric and I and my mom are walking through the Kings and all, and we're seeing that as we're walking through there, that God is, these Syrian kings and captains getting leprosy and stuff like that, and about to die, and they reach out to God, reach out to Elijah or Elisha, and and he heals them. And he sends them back, and basically to spread the word. It's like, go back into your world, and what was that captain's name? It's an N word. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he even asked for grace. He's like, after he gets healed of his leprosy and he's like, forgive me. I'm going back to my hometown, and I'm gonna be going back to their the pagan temples. But he's basically, I'm gonna be worshiping God. I'm gonna be worshiping God in my heart, right? But please forgive me for that, because I'm gonna go back to my people, right? And even his king did the same kind of thing when he was about to die. He reached out to God, reached out to the one true God instead of, and vice versa. The northern kingdom king in the same period reaches out not to God, even though he has the great prophets there right with him. He reaches out to the Lord of the Flies in another town. It's like, what is going on? But yeah, it's always been, you see that all the way through the Old Testament, of God reaching out to the foreigner. And it's all the way through the law. You see those provisions for loving your neighbor, not just being loving, just my group, right? Not just loving my brothers and sisters, just my family, but extending out to even your enemy. And that's kind of what the heart of David, one of the many reasons I found that he, is called the man after God's own heart, is because he, even though like Saul was coming after him for years and years and years trying to kill him, he loved him, right? He still extended love to Saul, and loved that he was the king, and honored that station that he had, even though he had many times a couple chances at least to kill him, and he still showed his love and grace to him and mercy, right? So anyways, all right, so let's move on. What time we got? Oh yeah, well, we're not gonna get that far today.
The captain that you were talking about, his name is Naaman.
Naaman.
Yeah,
Naaman. And what chapter was that in? It was First Kings.
I don't know.
Second Kings.
I went back through my notes.
Oh, okay.
2 Kings 5.
2 Kings 5. Okay. Yeah, if you want to see a really cool story of a really good example of that, 2 Kings chapter 5, it's a great. It just shows God's heart. It's like, even the Syrians are bad dudes, right? But all come to me. He shows his grace and mercy to them, right? Pretty awesome. All right. How much more we got on this chapter? Okay, well, we can do this. We can knock at least this one out. I wanted to get further, but that's cool. All right, so 15, on the day that the tabernacle was set up, okay? So the tabernacle is finally getting set up. The cloud covered the tabernacle, the tent of the testimony, and at evening it was over the tabernacle like the appearance of fire until morning. Pretty cool stuff. So it was always hanging out, right? While they're in the wilderness. The cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. And whenever the cloud lifted from over the tent after the people of Israel set out, And in the place where the cloud settled down, there the people of Israel camped. At the command of the Lord, the people of Israel set out, and at the command of the Lord, they camped. They listened to what God said, right? Or his indications, anyways. As long as the cloud rested over the tabernacle, they remained in the camp. Even when the cloud continued over the tabernacle many days, the people of Israel kept the charge of the Lord and did not set out. Sometimes the cloud was a few days over the tabernacle, and according to the command of the Lord, they remained in the camp. Then, according to the command of the Lord, they set out. Okay, good. And sometimes the cloud remained from evening until morning, and when the cloud lifted in the morning, they set out. And if it continued for a day or night, when the cloud lifted, they set out. Okay. Whether it was 2 days or a month or a longer time, that cloud continued over the tabernacle, abiding there, and the people of Israel remained in the camp and did not set out. But when it lifted, they set out. Okay. At the command of the Lord, they camped, and at the command of the Lord, they set out. They kept the charge of the Lord at the command of the Lord by Moses. Okay, so what's the principle here?
They traveled, they did by the Lord's command, and they did whatever the Lord told them through Moses. I mean, they set their schedule. I mean, it was the normal thing.
Exactly. They were obedient to God. And it wasn't even Moses, really, that had to tell them, because they all saw it. They saw, like the indication was clear. It's like when the cloud was over the tabernacle, they were camping. And when it got up, if it was an hour, it didn't matter. They had to pack everything back up, and get moving, right? There's indications. I mean, if you just go by the word, they count from the word. They didn't really move that much, so we don't really know. But here it kind of indicates that maybe they did move, only stay somewhere a couple days and move again. We don't really know. That if you count the times that are actually accounted for, it's only like 8 times or something. It's not really that many times. But I don't know. Let's see. What time we got? 4 minutes. Let's just try to see what we get here. The Lord spoke in chapter 10. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Make 2 silver trumpets of hammered work. You shall make them, and you shall use them for summoning the congregation and for breaking camp. And when both are blown, all the congregation shall gather themselves to you at the entrance of the tent of meeting. But if they blow one, then the chiefs, the heads of the tribes of Israel, shall gather themselves to you. When you blow an alarm, the camps that are on the east side shall set out. And when you blow, where am I? When you blow an alarm, the camps on the east shall set out. And when you blow an alarm the second time, the camps that are on the south side shall set out. An alarm is to be blown whenever they are to set out. But when the assembly is to be gathered together, you shall blow a long blast, but you shall not sound an alarm. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall blow the trumpets. The trumpets shall be to you a perpetual statute throughout your generations." And there's a bunch of, we'll see the trumpets all over the place. These shofar trumpets, right? Or whatever they are. And is it shofars? I can't remember. Oh, better shut up before I misspeak. And when you go to war in your land against the adversary who oppresses you, then you shall sound an alarm with the trumpets, that you may be remembered before the Lord your God, and you shall be saved from your enemies. On the day of your gladness also, and at the appointed feast, and at the beginning of your months, you shall blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of the peace offerings. They shall be a reminder of you before the Lord and the Lord your God. All right, so we have a system of announcement, like a telecommunication system, right? This goes back to the idea that they weren't just wandering around, meandering and just lost in the wilderness for 40 years or whatever, that they were very organized and a very organized system. And even the trumpets would let all the tribes know. It's like, we're doing this. So blow the first time, then we got this side getting up and starting out. We blow the second time, and the other tribes would, so they had this communication system set up by the Lord of how to proceed, right? And man, I really don't want to stop. I wanted to get through this because I wanted to get through all these things. Y'all want to keep going? You ready to go?
I'm good for it.
All right, we're going to go a little extra. We're going to finish this. In the second year, in the second month, on the 20th day of the month, the cloud lifted from over the tabernacle of testimony, and the people of Israel set out by stages from the wilderness of Sinai. The cloud settled in the wilderness of Paran. They set out for the first time at the command of the Lord by Moses. The standard of the camp of the people of Judah set out first by their companies. So Judah's starting is going to go by their companies of each tribe getting up and moving, right? It's very organized. It shows God's God of order, I think is what main thing you're going to see here. So we got all these different tribes moving down to 16 and over the company of the tribe of the people of Zebulun and Eliab and the son of Helon. Okay. 17, and when the tabernacle was taken down, so we got to pack all this stuff up. Just imagine what's going on here. It's a big ordeal to move all this stuff. The sons of Gershon and the sons of Merari and who carried the tabernacle set out, and the standard of the camp of Reuben set out by their companies, and over the company was Eliezer and the son of Shudiur. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Simeon was Shelomiel and the son of that word. My whole tribe. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Gad was Eliasaph, the son of Duel. So then we get the Kohathites, these famous Kohathites here. Then the Kohathites set out carrying the holy things. They're the moving guys, the most holy things. And the tabernacle was set up before the arrival. And the standard of camp of the people of Ephraim set out by their companies. And over the company was Elishama and the son of Amidhud. And over the companies of the tribe of the people of Manasseh and Gamaliel and the son of Pedazur. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Benjamin was Abidan the son of Gideoni. Then the standard of the camp of the people of Dan, acting as the rear guard of all the camps, set out by their companies, and over the company was Ahiezer, the son of Amishadai. And over the company of the tribe of the people of Asher was Pagiel, the son of Akron, and over the company of the tribe of the people of Naphtali was Ahira, the son of Enan. This was the order of the march of the people of Israel by their companies when they set out. Yeah, Moses said to Hobab, don't name your kid Hobab. If you do, yeah. The son of Reuel, the Midianites, Moses' father-in-law, we are setting out for the place of which the Lord said, I will give it to you. Come with us, and we will do good to you, for the Lord has promised good to Israel. But he said to him, I will not go. I will depart to my own land and to my kindred. And he said, please do not leave us, for you know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you will serve as eyes for us. And if you do go with us, whatever good the Lord will do to us, the same will he do to you. All right, so we got Midianites here. So this is so evidently this guy's been kind of helping them in the land.
Jethro, his father-in-law.
Is this Jethro? Moses' father-in-law, Jethro. Yeah, Jethro was. Yeah. So is this by a different name? That's interesting. Yeah, so why does it change the name? I guess confusing. There's a lot of that in the Bible. So Hobab, Jethro. Okay. Oh, okay. So Moses said to Hobab, the son of Reuel the Midianite, son of Jethro, a relative of Zipporah, Moses' Midianite wife. So Moses said to Hobab, the son of Reuel the Midianite, so I guess it's who Moses' father-in-law. So this is the son of Jethro. Okay, so we got it. That's why it's a different name. It's not Jethro himself, it's a son. But they're gonna be splitting off. Remember, Jethro was like he had great advice and all, but he was a kind of a pagan priest. Yeah, he wasn't like a Yahweh. Yeah. Probably a little bit, but you know, he was very synchronistic. He was about them all, right? So he said, please do not leave us, for you know you will come. Okay, so 33, we get in here. So they set out from the mount of the Lord 3 days, 3 days journey, and the ark of the covenant, and the Lord went before them for 3 days journey to seek out a resting place for them. And the cloud of the Lord was over them by day whenever they set out from the camp. And whenever the ark was set out, Moses said, arise, O Lord, and let your enemies be scattered, and let those who hate you flee before you. And when it rested, he said, return, O Lord, to the 10,000 thousands of Israel. All right, so I want to make sure we got through that so we can start talking about the complaining, Israelites. And just show, this is how they did it. They would be, but it was an orderly thing. They went by tribes. They had a communication system. It wasn't just, it wasn't what you, but at least I did growing up, just thinking, you hear those stories about them in the wilderness stuff. It's like, well, what took them so long? They just wandered around. They're just dumb. It's like, they were following.
They were lost.
Yeah, they weren't lost. They were never lost.
You take me out in the middle of the woods somewhere where I've never been, I'd wander around.
They were not wandering.
They back gave a bad report. So.
Yeah, but
Caleb and Joshua was the only two.
Yeah, we'll get to that too, right? But that's the thing, is they were never lost.
No, they was following God.
They were following God all the way. And we can kind of correlate that with our own lives. We made sometimes at certain points, even though we're following God, feel like we're completely lost. Like, I have no idea what's going on, why I'm in this situation, whatever. But if you're following God, you're right where you need to be, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a good little message there, I guess. So we'll start off in chapter 11 and talk about the complaining, even though they've been delivered and they want to go back to Egypt, right? Maybe we'll play that song next week. So, all right, anybody want to close this out? First one to speak.
Thank you, dear Lord, for a good day. Thank you for the class we've had. We just praise your holy name. You're a good God. We love and worship you and want to honor you in all that we do. We praise your holy name. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. All right. And I had a couple pictures for y'all, but we didn't get to them. There you go. There's your pictures. All right. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Wednesday.
I'll see y'all Wednesday. Yes.